Hey everyone, it's Todd.
And I'm Jeff.
We're two lifelong friends who decided we want to make a movie together, and I wanted to let everyone know we're actually starting a podcast as well that's going to tell all about the struggles and the triumphs and the lessons that we've learned along the way during the movie making process.
From writing the script to finding the cast to shooting the scenes and to editing the final product, you, the listener, will have behind-the-scenes access.
Plus, along the way, we'll be interviewing industry professionals to get their take on the whole process as well. So if you've ever wanted to make a movie on your own, this new podcast is for you. Make sure to head out to your favorite podcasting delivery service and look for Jeff and Todd Make a Movie and hit the follow button.
On today's Man of the Apes, there will be no references to urinary erections.
Hello and welcome to Minute of the Apes, the daily podcast where you talk about every minute of the movies 1 minute at a time. And Sean goes ahead and finds a way to talk about P-boners.
I told you I would not say that. I did not say P-boner.
So that's just we may sound professional when we're actually having a podcast, but our conversations off mic are taking a little bit of a detour.
We started the in-between because we inevitably would devolve into
just bullshitting between the episodes that we were recording.
And it was like, oh, we should record these. Oh, we'll make it a special episode. However, Sean can go down the urinary tract of hell faster than anyone. And it's not that we don't have anything on this podcast we can't say. Yeah. It's just that if there was one thing we can't say, it would be Sean that said it. Well, would you agree with that, Richard?
Yes. So yes. Listener poll, we would like to know whether you stand or sit when you pee.
He said poll.
There you go.
Because that was the conversation we were just... Actually, no. It was a do you close the door to go to the bathroom conversation.
When you're
the
alone,
first thing.
Especially what does your spouse expect of you?
Then it morphed into do you sit or stand when you pee.
Yes.
And it's the age-old conversation of men. My mother-in-law even once said, no real man would sit when he pees. I'm like, what? Why does it have anything to do with if I'm a man or not?
Well, I remember, I do remember when people actually use their zippers, just their zippers alone.
And just pull instead.
And I have to unbutton my pants. I don't see how that was a thing.
But wait, maybe it's because
I'm not wearing boxers. If I were wearing boxers,
but then you also had the people that unbutton their pants and then pull them down a little bit.
Oh my god!
I was like, what?
I have to tell you, one time when I'm a kid and I was a teenager, right? Mm-hmm. High school. And when you're in the band and you're trying to all the new stadiums and whatnot, and especially like back in the 80s, some of those bathrooms, they would have like the piss trough, which is just disgusting.
The gay clubs had that for a long time.
I walked in one time into the bathroom and I did not like my band director. Mm-hmm. And I literally disliked him even more when I walked in and standing at the trough, not only were his pants around his ankles, his underwear were too, and his bare ass is there. And I'm like, who strips your ass down to go pee?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, that is what a 3-year-old does. It's like, oh my! I literally walked in. I was like, I got to pee, and I left. All right, that's the end of pee talk.
Went right back up.
It did. I was like, I don't have to pee
anymore.
Disperse
back into your body.
All right, that is weird. Desperate for things to talk about as we tackle some more credits.
We have some. This is not an in between. We're actually.
We have a week to go. I know.
Minute 116. Sean, tell us where we start, where we end.
We start minute 116 with Maintenance by Tommy Thee and end with Purchaser Luis Benavides.
All right, here it comes. 116. Yay, we're rolling.
And we got the funky music still going.
Tony G did the ape makeup supervisor.
Lots of ape makeup artists.
Yeah,
Tony G. I want a name. I want Toddy. I want Toddy H.
Toddy.
That's what Abby's told me that my grandkids are going to call me is Toddy.
Toddy.
I'm like, okay, I can deal with that.
So let's see. Mark Wahlberg got his own makeup artist. Everybody else just got one.
Oh, wow.
Hairstylist for Miss Bonham Carter and Lisa Marie.
Now we're getting to the recording and
how
mixing.
sad. Mark
Foley.
Wahlberg was the only lead actor to have his own makeup artist.
You would think
I guess
Helena
everybody
Bonham-
else was in ape costumes.
Because they would have had special effects
Yeah,
instead of makeup.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
You know
true.
what's funny is I realize this as we play this back.
No, but
I
the
could be playing
humans-
any minute of any music that I wanted to,
and you
it
wouldn't
doesn't
know. Yeah.
I mean,
Hey,
Chris,
there's a Todd.
Chris Christopherson
yeah.
always looks the same anyway.
He does, but he's also greatness. Yay. There are a lot of people.
And, all right, we're down to the clerks.
No,
Yeah,
we
we
should
got
be
the
excited for
Clerks.
some of these people.
And look, hey, they got work and they got paid. That's
Right.
even a bad film. Okay, bad films.
Somebody point out the impossibility of making a film. The fact that first of all, you come up with an idea and you write it down, and then you write that down, and somebody else goes, "Hey, I think that's a good idea," and then a studio buys it, and then a studio puts a director to it, and the fact that even that just happens, and then you cast people, and the fact that that happens, and then the fact, and you make the movie, and you edit it, and you put it out there. And all the movies that aren't made because this one's being made. I mean,
Yeah.
the fact that a movie gets made at all is pretty spectacular.
I think I've talked about this before.
Even
that,
bad ones.
That Shelley and I, Shelley doesn't have any dog in the hunt as far as movie
I
making
mean, how many
goes.
scripts are bought and just put aside?
She doesn't have anything to do with any of that outside the fact that I love it so much.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about what, when you bring in a director ahead of it. I'm like, the director makes all the choices. They can't make every choice. Yeah, they do. They put the people in charge of it that make that choice, and they know what they're looking for. So then that's their job to flag it. So you look at how that's the totality of a film where I'm like, you can have this that's a mishmash mistake. Where some choices were made incorrectly and not looked through.
I don't remember what I was watching, but they were talking about the traits of a good leader is not always knowing the right answer,
Right.
but knowing when you hear the right answer.
Right.
So, that's why you might not be the smartest person in the room. You put the smartest people around you that you can.
I say it all the time that leading my band is a lot like this too, because I've got 5 of the people that are playing music with me and they know what I want to hear, but I have to let them go be creative and create what they want. And my job is simply not to look at you, Sean, and go, yeah, don't do that. It's what if we tried this? And always give them the opportunity to find that where it fits. And I think that's a good director in this situation is like, yeah, but are we being clear? And they're asking these critical questions that we've asked throughout this. Where's the clarity in this? How does this make sense? Where are we going? What's the tone of this? Is Marky Mark going to breathe in this? And I think that those are some of the questions we get
How
to
much kissing is there going to be in this scene?
Yes. And I think when we get to the end of this film, maybe some of those questions weren't asked.
We have the drapery foreman. We have the drapery gang boss. We have the head seamstress, the upholsterer, the set dressing coordinator. We have the additional second assistant director, assistant to Mr. Zanuck, assistant to Mr. Burton, assistant to Mr. Winter, assistant to Mr. Wahlberg. Then we have the list of accountants. I guess my question for a film like this, do all of these people just basically kind of come and go from one project to another, or do they work for a studio and they get credited because they were part of this film? Like, I'm not saying accountants did not do a good job for this film because they need that, but were they specifically hired for this? And they just rolled to the next project because that would make me so nervous as an accountant.
They
to know
usually
that
do that, and they're usually tied to different production companies and things like that.
Okay.
But then makeup artists are going to be whoever the makeup lead is. They bring teams within them
Right.
or people they plug in like that.
So real quick, I looked up gang boss, what that is, in relative to a movie, and they work with the construction crew of a movie, making sure everything on the set gets built the way it should be, and they're also known as a construction foreman. But in my Google search, at the side it said crime boss is a related thing, and then it said mob boss characters. My mob boss characters are Vito Corleone, Michael Corleone, Tony Montana, and Jabba the Hutt.
Okay, it's not a reach, but I like it.
I know.
I'm fascinated by the fact that they use the word drapery in front of it. That's just kind of interesting.
Credits are always really weird.
Who gets listed? I mean, it used to be so slim. It was
Right.
the cast, the director, music, some of the main, makeup and stuff like that. And now you'll get, well, we have 7 minutes in
Everything.
this movie,
Yeah.
and you list every visual effects artist. You list the caterer. You list all the legal team. Yeah, I don't know what how minute. When did it get to the trash collector, the garbage people that work in the office? Where do you cut off?
Where does it begin to use okay, we're just tacking too many people on for this credit?
Well, one of the things that I get asked a ton too, being a film freak, is what is a best boy.
Uh-huh.
And best boy comes, apparently, you can't really find, like, this is definitive
The
proof.
origin.
But they hired a gaffer who is the electrician, and they turned to him and said, why don't you bring your best boy to help you? So that's the gaffer's assistant.
And
That sounds feasible, but also incribly convenient.
Yeah. And what's a grip?
Well, a grip is the person that comes and holds my wiener whenever I go pee. But, you get those questions over and over. But you're right. At what point did we go from having a lot of these credits at the first of the film to now everything is tacked on? Then you still might see there are some people that are bringing in production designer, cinematographer, those kind of things
Maybe
to be up
music,
front, like heads of the departments.
Yeah.
But you don't see that as much anymore. One of the last films I can think that really did that was that 7 that had that long credit sequence where it did all that kind of in it. But the thing was, it sets the mood for the film sometimes when you do that.
I can't remember what it is, but there's a movie recently that they put the entire credits at the beginning of the movie so that made sure people saw it and then the movie played.
Well, they talk about the fact that they want, I wouldn't say shorter movies, but they want to trim movie length to try and turn it quickly so the theater can actually
show more times,
showings, things like that. And it seems like this would be a very obvious thing. And we've got like 7 minutes of credits. This would be a great place to actually, you got paid for the gig. You're an accountant. We don't really need to list you as a credit of the film. It's going to be these core group of people. But again, not knocking the accounts. I'm just picking up any particular gig.
Yeah, I found like the accounting firm of so-and-so and so-so would be enough of a credit in this situation.
Instead
I can
of every
understand
accountant.
a special effects artist because I'm seeing their work on the screen.
Yeah.
Right.
However, then, do you really need to screen credit if you're the accountant?
Are you seeing the screen work of the caterer on the screen?
Exactly.
Yeah, I
The
mean,
caterers
yeah.
do. There's
Though they're an integral part of it.
Yes.
You can't forget to feed people
gotta
every day.
feed- yeah.
It's part of it. I don't know if there's anything else to say to this.
We got to do this 4 more times for you.
I've got some things that I can at least introduce into the coming episodes that we'll talk about. And I think in the last one, we've got to talk about a little bit about where we think we're going. We also have to do our summation of where this ranks in your films.
yeah.
Maybe let's do that tomorrow. Let's talk about where this fits in the films and whatnot. We'll go from there. How's that sound?
right.
Sounds great.
That's 11 minutes of talking about credits and what they are and what they aren't. We'll be back tomorrow. Everyone have a great day.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Come in.